So, hello and welcome to Ali Fazal, one of our rising young stars. Actually, has risen a long time ago. It's just that India has taken a while to recognize him. Hello, Ali. Welcome to Tiffin Talks, and it's such a pleasure to have you with us. I want to focus on your international career. I know Guddu Bhaiya is a great hero, but I want to first start a little with your international career. You really began with international movies, a sitcom, and then a mini series. How did that happen? And then we'll come to Guddu Bhaiya.
Okay, well, if you want the truth,
Yeah.
it's
Only the truth.
I'll tell you. Okay, so I feel like my first cameo was with Fast and Furious. There was one little other thing that I'd done on this
In two,
random sitcom,
yeah, in
2000.
2008.
Yeah. So wo main, in fact, I was in college that time, and
Uh,
I remember these guys were shooting in India.
uh-huh.
So I had no idea what it was. It was
Uh,
just great money. We were
uh.
college kids, and I wanted to just get some, we wanted pocket money.
You in St.
And
Xavier's,
I remember
Mumbai, right?
I was in Xavier's,
Yeah.
Bombay. Yeah. So, so I remember because by second year, I think I'd shot Three Idiots, or third year I'd shot Three Idiots at some
Right.
point, and I'd kind of had that final chat with my father saying, I don't want your money anymore, and I'll fund my own college and I'll do my own thing,
Oh, you
and
did?
so of course this was, yeah,
Oh,
and so this little thing was probably a desperate attempt at just gathering as much money and pocket money. So I
right.
don't count it usually as something that I did consciously. But yes, Fast and Furious was one of the first ones
No, but
where
then
I
you
kind
did
of,
something called Bollywood Hero Ali in
yeah,
2009
it was
where
the
you played
same.
Monty.
Yeah, that was Chris Kata. अरे यार तो मेरे सारे पाप आप निकाल रहे हैं बाहर.
नहीं, but वो बहुत मजेदार थी वो. It was a little
It
ahead
was
of
a,
its time, I think.
yeah, it was comedy. It was a mini series, I remember, at
हाँ,
the time, for
yeah.
HBO or something. I can't remember.
Hmm,
But yeah, that was then. I had a few stints back
hmm,
then.
hmm.
I think it was because of my little exposure to English theater,
Ah,
at Prithvi, NCPA, and all these places. So we would be kind of in those circles.
right.
But at the same time, there was, little sowing the seeds of Bollywood, and working on Three Idiots. Actually, before Three Idiots, I'd done my first film, which is called Ek Tho Chance. It's Saeed Akhtar Mirza had
Saeed
directed
Akhtar
that.
Mirza. What a
Uh,
wonderful way to
yeah,
start, right?
it was a great way to start. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been my guru, if I can call him, and one of
Hmm.
the coolest men I've met.
I agree.
And I've read his book. I'm sure if you should read his book.
Oh,
It's
of
called
course,
Aman,
I've
Letters to.
reviewed. No,
Yeah,
even his new
the
memoirs. They
new
were
one. Have you read
so.
it?
Oh yes, they're
I
so.
he's
But
Oh
it's
wow.
it really makes you cry because it shows you really where we've come from.
Yeah.
Where we began. But how did you sort of get in touch? I mean, how did Said discover you?
I have no clue. It's such a vague memory. I remember walking into that office.
Hmm.
I remember him explaining me this character, and he was this very, you know, uh, very grand man, right? I mean,
Very
he is,
leonine,
but at the time,
leonine.
yes,
Yeah,
and he reminded me of Coppola, for Francis Ford
yeah,
Coppola at the
yeah,
time. He just
yeah.
looks, and he was explaining me cinema and how he's going to do certain things, and this character that I was playing. Um, and he introduced me to so many other things. He introduced me to Chomsky.
Okay,
He introduced me to a lot of other books. Of course, one of
right.
them being his.
Yeah,
He just gave me recently his new book. A
yeah,
signed copy that I got, but I
yeah.
haven't
You
gotten
must
down to
read it.
reading it.
Yeah.
I'll try. Yeah, I have it right
Hmm.
somewhere here. Yeah, but I really give him a lot of credit for a lot of things that have happened in my life, and I mean my entire worldview, not just acting.
Yeah, yeah. So, cut to Fast and Furious, a role which I think everyone was vying for, and you suddenly land it, and but also in between somewhere you uh, consciously gave up on Homeland, which
Oh no,
why?
I didn't. No, I feel that's really. I think I heard somewhere, and I
Huh.
feel really bad. It's a bit of a misquote. I didn't I didn't give up on it.
Okay,
The thing is, before auditioning, also they ask you. They have to ask you that if you're
okay,
available. and I wasn't available.
Right.
So if my dates weren't available, I wouldn't test for the
Yeah.
part. So I
Okay.
didn't test for the part, but I never got it or anything.
Okay.
It's wrong. I don't want to take that credit from
Right.
whoever, and
And from Nimrat, of course, who finally did do that.
she's, of
Yeah.
course, but she finally did the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I think I feel I just watched the last season recently, and I was
She was very good
she's
again.
so good.
So, so of course, just a little about how much can you tell me about Death on the Nile? Then we'll come right back to Mirzapur too.
Well, it depends. I mean, are you how aware are you of Agatha Christie? I think
Very much, but it's
it's
not I.S. Johar's role, right? Not from the 1978
no,
movie.
no, 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 no,
No, it has nothing
no.
to do
This
with
is
it.
George Kennedy's role. This
Right.
is George
Okay.
Kennedy who played Uncle Andrew at the time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this time, what has happened is they brought the cast younger.
Right.
So Uncle Andrew becomes Cousin Andrew.
Okay.
That's me. And
Okay.
because it's blind casting,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if I'm playing Indian. I've played British actually, so I have
Right.
actually a heavy accent.
So
And
that's really wonderful for you, isn't it? I mean, for actors like you, Riz Ahmed, it's opened the world to for so many opportunities. I believe you've just landed a lead role as well,
yes, yes,
and you're
looking
the
forward
cover
to that.
boy of GQ. Yay!
Thank you. I know that's been such a beautiful surprise this morning. I didn't know it would be out so soon. So I was told in the morning it's coming out, it's coming out. So I said, okay, great. And so it was like a nice little birthday gift. My birthday is this month, and I got really excited. It
So
was good.
how's it playing Guddu Bhaiya while also playing Abdul, while also playing Andrew? I mean, having these parallel lives and this parallel career.
That's what we do. We sign up for these parallel
Yeah,
lives. We
of
actors
course.
are such exploited. We exploit ourselves.
Yeah,
But but yes, they've been different worldviews. They've been different geographies, and Guddu has been a large part of my career in India, and I think it's really kind of. I think what it's done is because we constantly we live in a system, and it's very natural that we fall back on what we have done previously, right? You are your last Friday, your last image. I mean, if I was a producer, I would think twice before casting Ali Fazal as Guttu Pandit. But I'm happy that somebody at Excel was championing me and seeing the potential of what I could probably bring to it. I don't know how much justice I did, but I at least thought I could do something different with it, and I have this entire side to me which I could throw in. And that I think has opened up a new view, a new perspective on, I suppose, what I may be able to pull off.
hmm.
So I guess that works.
Yeah,
On the other hand, cinema in the West is growing. It's growing at such a fast rate. There's such amazing content out there, amazing work happening that you feel like I almost feel like you have to catch up quickly,
yeah,
and I don't think about कि ये भी ये है और मैं ये कर रहा हूँ. I just feel it's all one, and we're all part of the same
right,
system now, right?
right,
We're all like I said this earlier. We're all buttons away from rejection. Just you press
absolutely,
pause and play, and that's it.
right,
So I'm happy that I'm being able to play parts now and kind of fit into this diversity culture that has sort of kicked up in the West, where actors are welcome from all parts of the world, I
yeah,
think. Um, but of course, all movies can't be that.
yeah.
Wherever that's possible, I think things are changing.
So, is it still, of course, heavily audition based in the West?
Yeah. Even here, I feel, like I personally insist on that.
Okay,
Some parts really intimidate me, or some parts I feel like I tell my directors कि यार मैं I would love to put myself on
right.
tape
Hmm.
in India, because sometimes क्या होता है कि when you're doing a little well, you get script straight and everybody's like no, you do, सीधा offer
Yeah.
आता है.
Ha ha.
But just literally today, like 5 hours back, I've gone and tested for something that I insisted, and
Right.
because you also want to make sure that can you do it, can you
Right.
at least get a sense of it. So वो यहाँ नहीं है उतना, but yes, it's heavily audition based. Everybody does. Everybody. I mean,
Right.
the biggest of the biggest people do. Yeah.
Absolutely, which is such a good professional way of and transparent way of acting. Even eventually, if they give it to someone they want to, at least you can say that there was an audition,
Yeah.
and that's still a problem in India. That's why there's so much rage, and of course there was this huge outcry against the soul inside outsider. Do you feel that rage? Did you ever feel that anger, or
Uh,
more the patient kind?
no, the thing is, I never started out, and I know where this has affected a lot of people. But
Yes,
in my case, the problem is that it's things happened by chance.
right.
I was a basketball player. I was a hockey player. I broke my arm, and I started acting. I was in a boarding school in Dehradun, and my friend said, your English
Not
is okay.
any
Why don't you
boarding,
try?
not any boarding, Ali. You were at June school.
All right, it just sounds very aristocratic.
It's all
No,
right.
but
It's
yeah,
good.
it was nice. It was nice. It was a
Yeah,
good experience. But yeah, so you can't really sit idle there. So I started debating. Then I took part in there was a Shakespeare play happening. So I was still very naive when I
right.
entered the Bollywood industry because I was studying economics in Xavier's. I was not doing anything media related.
Hmm.
So I was really focusing on my studies.
What
And
were you
that time I
planning to
just
do?
oh so first I wanted to be a pilot, which was I was obsessed with it, and I think that thing got rejected by my father. I remember I made a whole presentation and everything. Said no. Then at a time I wanted to work for the United Nations. I interned with United Nations in Delhi and UNDP, and they ask you to, obviously they take you on contract, so you have to do your
Right.
masters and everything. But by then I'd already somewhere started with cinema. I think Three Idiots had happened, another film I'd started working on in 2009. um, so yeah, that went out the door, and I
But
kind of found that little thing.
yeah, but I think good choice. And Ali, I also wanted to ask you, with characters like Guddu Bhaiya who come to you, and even the character in Bang Baja Barat, I think, which in a way was the forerunner of so many web series we see now. And I think it got you a huge and loyal female following, which must have been interesting. Uh, is it important for young actors like you to create an ecosystem where you find directors and writers who in a way, as you said, champion you or echo your thoughts, and you can sort of all rise together and create a new culture?
Yes, I mean that's a great question, and maybe a statement if you can call it. Like it is. We need to do that.
Hmm.
It's so nice when I can champion my fellow colleagues, and because the space got bigger, right? And
Yeah.
it's not just an actor-driven medium anymore.
Right.
We're we're because of our writers, we're because of our directors, we're because of our technicians, and once you start celebrating everybody, the product becomes the king, and then you just skyrocket.
Right.
I sometimes I feel I'm still in search of just great directors who can use me and sort of churn out some, like there's so much, there's because we all come with so many stories, and I feel yeah, there's a lot more to explore, and not just me, but I think so many other actors who are my colleagues. Like I sorry, I've been saying this in every interview, but I got really excited when Arjun got nominated for the Emmys
Oh,
recently,
yes.
Mathur, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
He's paved the way, and you feel happy when that happens.
Right. And a very difficult role, and done it so well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just quickly again, Ali, how do you see yourself as an actor now in an industry which is kind of rediscovering itself? Because with this COVID, theaters, we are not sure when they'll open. We're not sure what kind of cinematic experience Indians want. Do they want comedy? Do they want action? Do they want larger than life? And yet, COVID has created a certain taste in them for good streaming cinema, for long form storytelling. How do you see yourself as an actor in this environment, and as a global actor who's just one call away from anywhere, from anyone in the globe?
I think The first part of your question, I think it's not reminding me. It's not like I was there, but it's the time when we got independence, right?
Hmm.
There was, unfortunately and fortunately, great cinema or great art comes out of certain tragedies in societies.
Right.
When you go through a bit of a churning, and we witnessed a golden period in Indian cinema back then in the 1950s. People didn't know what they wanted. People just got out of massacres, and people got out of a very weird time.
Hmm.
200 years of British Raj. I think that was, we didn't know what we wanted.
Right.
But then came a wave. Today we're going through a pandemic that clearly nobody's experienced in probably 100 years, and so we don't know what we want. But yes, it's a welcome change that we which I think had already set, the sparks were already there before this, with the OTT. But for actors like us, I think it's we want to we're desperate to put some to take great stories, put them together and put them out there, and I think it's our responsibility, because um, I don't want to say that we're the torch bearers of the people's conscience or anything, but yes, we
But
get
you
to
are
raise the
actually.
questions.
You are
No,
actually
I
because
really, I feel like we're not. No, I mean, I disagree with that in the sense that we're not the conscience. We get to raise the questions.
yeah.
Art cannot become, uh, you know, ये एक hard template कि भाई आपने बोल दिया and therefore this is it. No,
Hmm.
otherwise what's the point of living then?
Yeah.
We all have our own
Absolutely.
brains, and the idea is to think for yourself, to make common sense,
Right.
come alive back into our society. So I think we're
And the
basically
greatest
looking at a good
artists,
time.
yeah. Right. And the greatest artists in the world have done that. They've always raised questions of the establishment, whatever the establishment is. The last question, Ali,
Whatever,
is
through art.
yeah.
Yes.
Last question, Ali, is really how did Guddu Bhaiya change your life, if at all? The first season. I feel it did, but in what way?
Yeah. In many ways, I think it gave me a little confidence on where I can, on how comfortable sometimes you can be within a certain atmosphere, and trust yourself. I used to not trust myself, my instincts. Pehle.
Oh, okay.
I really learned to do that.
What
I've
was
grown
it
and
about
matured.
Guddu Bhaiya that made you do that?
Weirdly, the physicality of
Yeah.
Guddu, which I couldn't notice because I was training myself for 2.5 months there, and 4 months before, 6 months. So when I entered set, um, I thought I was underprepared, but people could see the difference.
Huh.
So I kind of started
Right.
hunching and using that as a crutch, and
Hmm.
eventually that became the walk, and that became sort of intimidating. Uh, and
Right.
I suddenly started realizing that okay, this is turning into something. My problems and my crutches are helping me. My insecurities are, for the first time, aiding me into
Right.
you know I don't know if I'm clear about it, but yeah, I really tried to trust my instincts more, I think. The
Right.
preparation was
And
such.
yeah, and for Guddu too, you had to again go through that whole beefing up process because, or had you sort of kept that afloat?
No, I had to go through a little bit of it, definitely, to kind of keep the physicality alive. But it's also very nicely balanced cerebrally this time. But that's something you'll have to, I guess, wait to
That we
watch.
will watch. Yes, we can't wait to watch. Thank you so much, Ali, for being with us
So
and for
nice
talking
talking
to
to you.
us. And all the very best, and keep the politics alive.
Thank you.